Welcome to Keiser Voices, the story of success, brought to you by Keiser University Graduate School, here where the academic world meets personal triumph. Join us today as we dive into the captivating tales of success.
Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Keiser Voices. And we're excited today as we wrap up Women's History Month and start moving into April, where we take a look behind the scenes here at the graduate school to kick it off with a newly Dr. Marline Noel from our Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial Organizational Psychology. She happens to be residing here in Northern Florida, but we're so excited to get the opportunity to tell your story and also kind of talk about what happens in the background for a student. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Noel.
Thank you for inviting me. Basically, as I say previous, when I did my dissertation, this was a personal history for me, growing up as I witnessed, limitation placed on women, which is my mother era time. This was like, for me, it was like a challenge. I was like, I'm going to break the barrier and start pushing toward a career to get my degree. And basically what I did my dissertation on the relationship between stress and burnout among lawyers. Basically, my mother's dream was to be a lawyer. So because of the era limitation in education coming from a third world country, she didn't have the privilege to go to school and finish. So when I came here and I take the challenge for her, it's like I'm living her life and say that I'm gonna break the barrier for other women and the one that come after her. And the day that I past my final defense, I called her. She started crying and excited and called everybody in the neighborhood on the phone, telling them, which was amazing. Basically, that was the first step. Yeah.
So I actually got to be at your final defense. Yes. You were very emotional. I know that this is not an easy path. When I get the opportunity to speak to new students, I tell them, like, there is going to be just as many highs as there are lows. Like it's not one or the other. They're together. But that's amazing that your journey started where your mother's hit that wall, hit that barrier, as you say. Before we talk a little bit more about your journey, is it okay if I ask a little bit more about your mom and your background?
Yes.
Where did your mom grow up?
My mom grew up in Haiti. Basically, my background, I'm Haitian, so I grew up in Haiti. She came in the United States in the 1970, where things was very hard, and then after, I think I came 1995. Basically, where a lot of things, stigmatism based on the Haitian culture. About the background that the Haitian word AIDS and all these things. It was so hard, when I started my high school in Suriname High School. It was really go back to your country, you doesn't fit in. It was so much bully, but I pressed to the barrier. I went to University of Florida, ended up graduate with a bachelor. And then I transferred to UCF, and I didn't let that stop me because I have an objective. Like I say, I want to get that done for my mother. Yeah.
So what was it that finally pushed you into saying, you know what, it's time to go for my doctorate? Like, now is the moment.
When basically I was taking a class as research in methodology, and then one of the instructors predicted that by the year 2030 there was going to be a field in psychology, which is, I didn't know it was IO, that going to be very successful. My plan was to be a pediatrician. I didn't want to be a psychologist. Like I say, I want to go to med school, but thing changed. So when she predicted that, and I looked later on, I was a therapist for 6 years and a half, and I burned out. I was working at the jail, seeing people with severe mental illness. And I was like, I ended up doing a research project, and I was like, oh, I love research. I could do that with easily, and that's when I look into the Chicago School of Psychology, which is, I was already, they rated everything for me. They say, your application, you didn't have to pay anything. Lo and behold, when I look at the cost it's going to cost for my residency, and I look into Keiser, And online, I was like, I searched it and I see you guys were like 84% of graduates, and then you have a good rate. And then it was cheaper, for me, tuition was cheaper. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it. I invited a friend of mine to come with me. I was like, we're going to do this together. We're like, buddies. Girl, the first semester, she ended up quitting. She was like, this ain't for me. I was like, oh my God, should I quit? Should I? But I pursued it. That was it. That was the inspiration that one of my instructor way back and, predicted, which is true, is coming to pass. So we see how IO, industrial organization psychology right now, is growing. So that was
you choose Keiser and you kick off your journey with a friend. So when you started that journey with Keiser, were you expecting, again, I'm referring back to, we had a brief conversation at the end of your dissertation defense. Were you expecting the overall experience that you felt at Keiser University? Like in your mind, like, okay, it's an online school. They say students first, it's going to be students first. I'm not going to be alone in this journey. Were you actually expecting those words to align with what you experienced?
Yes,
directly?
I did. Actually, they emphasize more in practical application. So, which is basically with my co-balancing work and family at the same time was perfect for me. I mean, the program was really, really practical. And my instructor, when I call for answers, I have challenges, they walk me through it. It was perfectly exactly what I needed. I've been to other university, like I told you, top university. I don't have that interaction with most of the instructors. Most like you were like a number. You just a number. Okay, we got you to the best whatever university. But the experience I have with Kaiser was like 101. My instructor, I can call them. They were like, even the weekend, I texted them, they respond. It's amazing. I was like, wow. Anyway, other university, you get respond to email 2 or 3 weeks later, you find out. But with them, they were unsharp, especially my chair, my committee, with my dissertation. Oh my goodness, I couldn't thank them enough. I say I couldn't do it with my chair. Every time I have a nervous breakdown, I say I'm doing it. And she was like, you remember your goal, you got to keep going. I'm by your side. I'm there for you. And then she was, Dr. Fernandez was there for me all the way, like all the way. And Dr. Mendelson, oh my God, and Dr. Dan, they, with my statistic, when my data was all messed up, they were like, take a deep breath. It's going to happen. You just have to take time. And then but Dr. Dan sent me video after video. Dr. Fernandez sent me video after video. I watched video after video. I ended up here today. I'm grateful for Kaiser. Most of it is from my chair.
I want to talk, if you don't mind, a little bit about the lows, because when we typically speak with the students, we're hearing about the ups, right? The good side, I'm now, in your case, Dr. Noel. But yes, life happens, and you experienced some ups and downs throughout your program that added challenges and probably even caused you to pause to wonder, like, am I going to finish? Is that a true statement?
Yes, that is a true statement. I remember I was taking, I think, research or statistic, my first class. It was a challenge because I'm good in math, so statistic wasn't an issue for me. I don't know what happened. My computer ended up shutting down. I took a test. I ended up, the test ended up, something happened with a zero, like automatically zero. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to fail this class. Like, and I called one of the instructor, which is Dr. Schmidt. I was like, oh my God, I'm taking this exam in the test computer. She was like, it's too early. You are a great student, take a deep breath, just set back, it's only 5% of your grade. Because me, I was like paranoid. I'm like, oh my goodness, I never got C's in class. I'm going to end up with this. I was like, no. And then she said, take a deep breath. She just started, and I ended up with an A in the class. It was like, oh my goodness, how do I did that? She was like, it's too early. You're a good student. Because I have her for 2 classes before. She was like, I know you. I know how hard you work. I know how this challenge won't be an issue for you. Just, you'll make it through. And I did. I ended up with an A in the class. So.
What about life? Did life get in the way at all during your program?
Yes. Yes, I'm into physical health challenge. I had surgery, like I say, during the dissertation. I then ended up quitting. Multiple accident. Was typically somebody tried to rob me. With a gun. The person that I was with ended up, didn't make it. I'm here. I mean, it was predestined. Life has so many issues, so many. If I tell you my story, you'll be like, you have nine life, but I am here and make it through the end. That was purpose. Like I say, I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. I believe in Christ. I wouldn't be here without them. That's what, like I told you, my friend didn't make it. I ended up here today to test that testimony that, you can do whatever, is predestined for you to do.
And I think that really speaks a lot about who you are. Like you've
Mhm.
had, and you've shared some of it with us, life, like life
Yes.
and things that you would never even expect to encounter in life happen to you throughout this journey. But
Yes.
here we are having this conversation at the end of your program. I'm calling you Dr. Noel,
Yes.
and it just speaks volumes of the person your mother raised you to be, because I know she was a huge influence on you, which is amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Looking back, what's one thing you wished you would have known before you entered your program? Something that you wish you could have warned yourself about or told yourself about, heading into this journey.
One thing is is my sleep. I would have known because I love when I don't get sleep, I get cranky. Sometime on Saturday, that's when I took my time to do my homework. So I stay all day. So I'll sleep for 2 hours. So that I wouldn't know, like you having a kids. When I have my I was, oh man, I'm back to that life again. Because my kids right now they 18 and 19. So I was like, oh man, I need my sleep. But because I knew it wasn't something is gonna be for long. It's a short term for 4 year or whatever, 3 year and a half, whatever it is that I will make it through. That's what I want to know. And the other thing too is some of the classes are hard. It's not easy, but if you work with the instructor, you do your homework, you do your assignment, the project, and you make it through. Because we have like teamwork. Sometimes I remember one of the project that I had was the hardest work. When your grade is based on other student, it's like you get like anxious and paranoid. Because me, I'm like, my chair has to be like, you're too perfectionist. You gotta let go and take a deep breath and sit back and see. She say, you just like me. I say, well, I have to have my grade, but it's like when we have a group project and then you see your grade based on other people, like you anxious, you be like, I gotta do the work. So we ended up, that's what team was, we ended up as a group project where we have to assess in our organization, and then we have to come up with solution. The organization was having staff retention, to keep our staff. As an IO, they hire you, what are step you're gonna take to make that happen. So everybody has their project to do. One of the student, oh my goodness, the last minute send an email saying like, we're supposed to submit this project on Sunday. One of the students in the email on Saturday say they cannot give their part, this section they're supposed to give. So what I did, I was paranoid. I was like, oh my God, this is. And he emailed the instructor. He didn't email us and let us know. The instructor emailed us and say, y'all got to come up, submit your assignment by this. I was like, okay. I say, I'm doing this. So I took my time and did his project and then put it in a group chat. And I say, you guys, make sure you correct everything. And then we ended up did it as a team. That's what teamwork. So, the student, have issue, family, debt, we support one another. That's what we are in the field for. So, we ended up with an A. So that was good. So, I mean, that was the challenge I have to face. But, yeah.
What advice would you give to someone, whether they're looking at a master's program or even a graduate program? But what
Mhm.
advice would you give to a student who is considering continuing their journey here at Keiser University?
Oh, the advice I would give them, I would just tell it's not based on how people say you have to be smart to get to certain career. It's motivation. You just have to prioritize your time, prioritize what you want in life. Determination. Once you want that, it's not no barrier, nothing can stop that. For me, it was for me prioritizing that I want to achieve this career, and then it's like I block everything else out of like so many trauma that happened to me, life issue, illness, physical illness, but I press toward the like looking toward the high call, like you said, like doctorate, like this is the end. That's what I would tell them. Motivation, prioritize your time, and be organized. Since if you're doing it online, knowing I set up time for me. I set up today, Wednesday, and Saturday for me to do my homework.
So what's next, Noel? What's next in your story, in your journey?
The next in my story, and then I want to empower women, as most of it, I want to do leadership and management, be able to push women to their vision, to be who they want to be. Don't let barrier or anything say you cannot achieve that. Me as I told people I speak three language, not only one, three. So I break barrier coming up to learn English and then to press on toward, getting a doctorate. It's not an easy thing. When English is your third language and you have to write dissertation after dissertation, paper after paper, it's hard, it's not easy, but I press through, and then with the help of my heavenly Father, who helped me through this, and the Holy Spirit, which is I trust in, who helped me push the barrier and be able to accomplish this.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Noel, for taking the time to share your story and your inspiration, and even your mom, like sharing her with us. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we can't wait to see what's next for you. I'm sure with your dedication that the sky's the limit. So I hope we can check back in with you maybe a year from now. That would be fantastic, just to hear what all of you've done and accomplished and the example you have set. So please don't be a stranger and keep in touch with us.
Yes, I was still an alumni, so I remain in church. Thank you, guys, and I appreciate Keiser again. Dr. Keiser did amazing work. The thing they didn't know, two of my younger brothers went to Keiser way 1994, but they did when Keiser was a college. It wasn't a university they had, and I think that was 1994, 1995. They did X-ray, ultrasound, and X-ray. So both of them went there. Now they medical doctors, so yeah. So
it's been a whole
amazing.
Family journey.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, that's what I have to push, because my brothers, all of them are medical. I'll be like, the woman got to do something. So yeah, but thank you, Heather. I appreciate you, and no, thank you, Vice. It was amazing. It was a good journey being at Keiser University. I don't know other school else, I have been, to top, like I say, to the top university, like they say, but I made it through. Because sometimes when you go online, they say online, well, it's not, no. I appreciate doing online, because in person, I was just a number, like I said, just a number. Can you imagine online? You don't even see the instructor, and they that close to you. That's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So.
And thank you all for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation. And if you want to hear more journeys like Dr. Noel's and continue to learn about what happens behind the scenes all month long here in April, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And we will catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for journeying with us today on Keiser Voices, the story of success. As we close this chapter, remember, every story has its next page.